Hello, everybody. This is a sort of combination of an observation and somebody else's dream, but it sort of seems quite relevant to us. My son-in-law and my daughter are has no interest in the new presentation, are very much against it. It's stupid. I think I said before that, they were saying, how can you prove it and things like that. And they're the one with the little boy. But the funny thing is, I was sort of doing my grandmother thing in the week, and my son-in-law said, oh, he had a dream. And the dream was that they were in a caravan, the family. I think you call it a trailer over there. It's caravan. And Kevin was somehow in a caravan above them. And Kevin was playing a guitar very loudly, and he can't play a guitar, so I don't know what that was about. And my son-in-law said they were getting very annoyed about it, and they went out and asked him to stop. And as far as I know, he did. But it's quite strange that my son-in-law is so against the new U presentation that he also has it in his dream as well.
Well, there you go. It's obvious, and that is that it's almost like that no matter what tune Kevin's playing, they don't like it, you see. So, yes, of course, that's an of course thing. And so, we've all got our attitudes, and it's something this or that for everybody. And so, yes, it shows up there too, because there's an attitude there. So, but, Kevin's doing his thing, and actually, with the experience they're having with Kevin, you see, but they're not recognizing it. And that is on the real side. They're seeing what he's doing, but they've decided to be annoyed by it. You think? That's what's interesting. They are recognizing it, but they're not recognizing what's going on. So they're deciding to be annoyed about it. Now, I'm going to throw this in here. So again, it's an extreme example, but the Queen of Orion's the same thing. She's got such an attitude that, no matter what is presented to her that's beneficial, she don't want it. She'd rather be in the Phantom Zone facing all her horrors. You see, again, so what is it? It's choice. But that's kind of cute. You see, you start to see, the choices that a person makes every moment. It's not good, bad, or whatever. It's you just make the choice. That's it. And so, but they are aware in their own way if they see that. You see, that was their experience with Kevin.
Yes, it was. Yeah, they must have been on holiday in his dream, and Kevin it was like a double-decker trailer thing. Kevin was above.
Yeah, well, he's more aware, so he's above. So when you're more aware, you can see the situation below. And so the idea is that, again, they're aware of that, you see. And so it's recognizing the awareness aside from the personal attitude. So the personal self here has the attitude, but their awareness recognizes him also, you see. So that's up to them to put two and two together. So we do things on the real side. We all do. I do too. And I talk to people, etc. But when it comes to their personal self, okay, that part also decides to let it through or not. You see? It's very interesting. Yeah. So I'll throw something else in there, and that is that when my time came, etc., with Darwin and Harold, it was the same thing. It was done on the real side, but when it came to the personal self here, they said no. You see? So that's what you're seeing in the personal self. So after a while, see, as you go through these experiences, and especially others, you get a better objective view of their experiences. You start to compare, all right, what really makes sense? Does this world that we're in, all crazy and distorted, make any kind of sense at all? Or is there something a lot better that I'm not seeing, but that I can learn to see? You see? You decide.
Okay, thanks. I won't repeat I might repeat what you said to my son-in-law, see what he says, but quite often when people are sort of angry about things, they're threatened by it, and they're thinking perhaps there is something in that, but I don't want to go there.
again, just like your husband Peter there, when people have those situations and they ask you whatever, you know how they are, and I know people like that. I know a very good psychic. She's very, very good. I've known her for almost 10 years. She's a sweetheart in her own way, but at the same time, I got to walk on ice with her. I can't talk about certain things or say certain things because then she just hangs up on me. She gets upset, and I just let her go. But the situation, and when it comes to these things are personal. These things are very personal, and this opens up people's lives. So, a person has to be willing to be looked at to get on with their life. Again, it's just like in boot camp. The sergeant gets into every life that comes there, gets into every individual, to the nose hairs in his nose. It's like, well, you ain't clipped your nose hairs, okay? So whatever it is, they're into your life. You have to be willing to go through this because they're going to go through everything through you. You see, and most people aren't willing to do that. They want to just keep their life as it is, etc., and then just, do as they do. This is the world. And this is why most people go to religions and other things like that, especially religion, because they want a schedule. They want everything boxed in. They want to know where everything is at, and that's it. And they don't want to know anything else. Okay. So again, like in religion, everything else is wolf in sheep's clothing. Whatever. It's all bad except what's in the good book. You see, they want to live in their box, and so you see this also. So again, this is where things become touchy, and even wars start over attitudes. That's all, just a little attitude, and boing, things take off funny because people like their boxes. You see.
Right, okay, thank you. I'll pass you back to Kevin now. Thanks. Kevin.
Okay. All right then. Now, I was just thinking when Gwen was relating that story, I was thinking if they think the guitars are annoying in their dreams, next time I'll play the drums to get their attention. See if that works. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe a bugle. Yeah, try a bugle. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I'll leave the taps running in my trailer above theirs and drown them out. Oh, well. Okay, I shall share some dreams. Okay, this first dream, it would begin with dinosaurs. And they were everywhere. They were running amok. They were attacking people, stomping around, pretty much doing what you'd imagine dinosaurs would do in the vicinity of people. The scene would then switch to a group of people, and I was among them. And there was an individual there, and he was a part of the group. And but he suddenly decided to attack the rest of us. And interesting enough, I had the sense that he was actually a new friend, and he was causing now disruption, and would cause disruption possibly with the new presentation. And then later on, I was back at home with my parents, and we were listening to reports of a nuclear strike. And one of the sources of this information, besides the television, was Alex Jones, and he was speaking about it as well. And apparently the targets for these nuclear missiles had been places in America and also North and South Korea. And there was a press conference going on the television. At this time, a Russian individual had come into prominence, and this was the person that was speaking to the news reporters. And I got his name as well, and his name was Rashe Hamosio. And there were also images of the devastation that were on the television as well. And I got the impression this wasn't very far into the future, but at this time, certain new friends and new students were gaining the ability to be able to physically teleport themselves anywhere they wanted. And it seemed that leaving the planet to other alternative planets was being considered. And also the method involved lying flat on one's back and looking up into the starlit sky, but I didn't see much more beyond that, so I imagine the technique was then more internal from that point on. And I remember right at the end of the dream, Kelsey was one of the individuals who had this ability, but she was reluctant to leave despite the danger of the nuclear situation, as though she had a few more new presentation orientated things to do first. And yeah, that was the end of that dream.
Okay, that was cool. Okay, so that's one of those Star Trek episodes. Yeah, so in the beginning, okay, you see what's going on, and I've used to, when we had the Orion Skypes, get a lot of warnings about what's going on, and then all of a sudden it started to show up, and that's why they were canceled now for over a year, because a lot of things happened with Iran, etc. So we know who the dinosaurs are. Those are the reptilians. Okay, they're running around bothering everybody because they're prehistoric creatures is what they are. So again, the experience exaggerates itself. And then you go into a group of friends and you're seeing, yes, there's going to be people come and go, and there's also people that are going to infiltrate, okay, and they're going to pretend that they're your friend or whatever. So this will constantly show up. I've been through hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, seen them come and go, and etc. For the most part, they do start to understand many times, but it takes a lot to go through this. It just takes a whole lot. It's just not like everybody's going to become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. These things take a lot of your life, and more than that, or a scientist. Most people are just going to live their life, and so you're seeing that too. And also, this can happen anytime, the atomic stuff, because we're in this knucklehead atomic age with devices that can actually destroy this world, and it's always any moment that this can happen. It's very, very real. Most people take it for granted that, we use this stuff for protection. That's nuts. The birds don't have atomic weapons. The Indians never had atomic weapons, etc. All of a sudden, we need atomic weapons because other people have atomic weapons. Well, they play all sides. So the real idea of the threat is that those people that have created these things, they're more afraid than the so-called regular people or the populace. So they've created these things as a threat to continually contain people as they become more aware. That's really what it's about. But they're rather nutty themselves, and so their thrill is to blow things up, which they've done many times. So there is also a warning there. And yes, going to other planets and whatever, yes, that is possible too. Other places to continue on. And yeah, we have a lot to do here, and the individual will know when it's time to leave. As you have the awareness, you will know when it's time to leave instead of just panicking. You see, most people, a situation occurs, they're just going to panic. And some people do use their intuitive nature and see more, etc. But then again, it's a choice. So you're seeing all these things that are going on, and you're the view, Kevin. So it's never a dull moment. It's always a new adventure, isn't it?
So on that then, if an individual had the awareness to do so, and they knew of a situation in which there would be impending doom, they could, in theory, decide to exit their vehicle possibly prematurely than they would have otherwise have done then, and pass over of their own accord.
Well, of course, it only makes sense. So in other words, I'm here in California, and they're already planning tsunamis, which I read years ago. It doesn't mean they'll do it, but earthquakes with HARP in Oregon that creates a 700-foot wave in Southern California. That's going to go back to Arizona, okay? So what am I going to do? Am I going to go to the mountains? No, I'll probably just stand here with my surfboard and see what happens, okay? So again, and that's something I'm not deciding. And yes, it's interesting. I'll give you an example. I read a bunch of things that psychics and other people had interpreted as an example, the Vietnam War. many of these individuals that were in the Vietnam War because they were really drug into it because of what the U.S. government decided and the cabal, etc. Well, these young men went there, and a lot of them died, and they didn't get to finish their life out. So they were rather upset about that because, again, it takes a lot to produce a body here, get used to it, and go through the experiences that you want to. But when other people decide to shorten that life, that's an interruption, you see. And so, again, this isn't why we came here, and this is what we're dealing with as an example on Orion, etc., because originally they came here and they've disrupted the situation and the system to where we're living the effects today. So we're kind of doing something about that most people don't know about, because, again, they're the cause, and so we're going to the root of it, and we have rights to offset these things. But you have to have the awareness, and you have to have the courage to step up and do something. So again, if somebody's, again, if you know somebody's going to blow up your house, are you just going to let them blow it up, or are you going to do something about it? Sometimes you confront them. Sometimes you got to be tricky, or when they turn their back and grab the briefcase that's got the bomb in it, whatever. But there are situations. See, this is what's going on in the world today. And most of the stuff you see, if not all of it, especially in the media with the governments, etc., these are all planned ideas. Okay, you have human farming here. That's the bottom line. It's human farming. There is no la-la land here. This is a situation that's been created. And again, look at I use the United States as an example because I'm there, but it influences the world as it is. And so, the bankers and the cabal, they set up the United States as a takeover country. They wanted it to be outside of themselves so everybody would think it's them or somebody else. So they set them up. The United States is a glorifying whatever. So whatever they do, it's almost like no matter who they destroy, they're right, they're fine, everything's good. And, so what they do is they keep, they create things in the United States that are very attracting. So that kind of offsets it. But, in the last 200 to 300 years, look at what has taken place with this world. It's just off the scale, etc. So you're seeing these things because people are making choices. And for the most part, most of the unaware populace is thinking, well, the government will take care of this or whatever, or etc. It's not going to happen. Each person makes a choice, and they're planning all kinds of things, which they've done already, just like the fires in California with the lasers, and now they bring on the rain, which causes mudslides, etc. They like to watch this devastation. There's a movie called Flash Gordon with Max von Sydow in it. And the very beginning of the movie, Ming, who's on another planet, is got a view into the earth and stuff, and he's sitting there pushing buttons, making earthquakes and tidal waves and all kinds of stuff, and he's just sitting there laughing. And this is what the cabal does. And so people look to the government that is controlled by all of this, and they're looking for answers, and this is where you see the protests and whatever, but these are all setups. There's no good system here, and it doesn't matter if it's good, it's still a controlling system. So if you've got a good prison, it's still a prison. So people that have ideas about what the system has created, that's all a fallacy. There's nothing here. So again, as you're going through these experiences, you decide with your real awareness how to see what's going on here. But if you feel that you're settled in and things are going to be fine and you're going to have a retirement here, well, right now with what it is, everybody's got atom bombs, hydrogen bombs or whatever, atomic weapons. And these people get itchy fingers and they get bored. So anything can happen here. So there's another heads up, you see. And you're seeing it already, the dinosaurs and whatever, those are the reptilians everywhere. They're bothering everybody. Not everybody sees it, though. But see, you're seeing it, you know about it, but it's not always seen on the surface because they're shapeshifters, and they mainly do it in the astral worlds. They do it here, too, but that's where they tap line everybody, which affects this place here. That's where all the cancers start and whatever. They start from the astral body into the physical body. So yeah, it's just depends upon if you want to pay attention or not. But a lot of people block these things off with their own ideas, like, oh, I don't believe that, or it's not true, or the government didn't say that, or if my master says it, then it's so, or all these ideas. But life is always in our face, and we decide to see it or not, and then that becomes the adventure to do something while we're here. You see, so again, like the new presentation, I created this. This is my adventure to do something while I'm here. I don't have to do anything. It's always my choice, but I've decided to do this and see who else wants to come along and wake up. That's the best part, because that's what life is about. That's why we're here, to go through the school of hard knocks. It's really hard here to really wake up all the way and eventually get to the point where you're no longer self-convinced, but you continually go through the experience and you learn to make better choices. So overall, I've created this, and I'm creating more things for people to be able to offset a lot of this. But again, they have to make the choice to learn to see it. This is where we're in the new nowness, where you recognize what's going on, and it's more so than just collecting the knowledge and defining it with your literal self, you see. And so that's the next step. And so most people, because they've been educated literally, they have a hard time with this, so they just usually block it out, like your friends, the experience you have. It's just easier for them to block it out and stay self-convinced with their personal self. So, but you're on the adventure here, Kevin, and yeah, let's see what's next.
Okay, so following on from that, if one did then exit the body in order to escape some devastating cataclysm, and so therefore they've exited the body sooner than they ought to have done, then wouldn't that not be in the same category as suicide? And then theoretically, as a result of that, would you not then return automatically back into a life here again as a result? Or is it the case that if your awareness is such and you do that, you can completely supersede that process, and therefore you won't automatically return having exited the body early?
Well, with all that said, young man, you put that together very nicely. So again, no, it doesn't mean suicide or whatever. It's kind of like this. Let's say you're on a bus, you get on the bus going to work, and all of a sudden the bus has flat tires, and you're going to have to walk or get a taxi cab. So things happen here. You deal with it. Always look to your awareness, not your mind, and then you're okay. So here's the cool thing about what the new nowness of what is being presented here is that forget the karma and all that. Okay, you can forget that. And I went through all that. We went through that with the corporation. Oh, you have karma, you got good karma, you got bad karma, and all these paths. That's all they focus on. Forget all that. Once you step up and start to recognize your real awareness, you realize that, it's just like society has created all these rules and regulations and restrictions. Within your awareness, you exit the agreements of society while you're still in society. So you're not tap-lined and tied to them anymore. And the same with karma or anything else. And the suicide idea. No, there's no such thing as suicide, really, because you really just pass over is what you do, and you make the decision there. So yes, you still may have a bill to pay, but there's many ways to do it. Because once you have the awareness, okay, you don't need to be at the mercy of secondary experiences anymore. See, so again, the boys are risk takers, and if you take the risk, they're going to show you other ways. But see, you got to take the risk. But if you go with your personal mind, yes, you've learned certain things as references. But is there a way to do it? So it's 2:00 in the morning. No one's on the road. You come up to a signal. It's a red light. Are you going to stop and wait for the green light? Or are you going to run it? You see, you decide to do it or not. You're always the decider. That's the fun part now. You know that now. See, most people, again, they're always agreeing to the rigidness that's been created. And I'm not saying break the law or do anything like this. If it doesn't harm anybody else and you're doing it for yourself and you take on the effects, Well, you have a right to do that, and it's okay. I'm taking on the effects of where I'm at and what I'm doing here every single day. That's knowing effect. I'm taking on the effects, and I see what's going on, but I'm fine with doing it because this is what I want to do. You see, I'm not running from it. And a lot of people do. They don't want to face what's going on. They want to pretend otherwise. So, no, I don't see that as suicide at all. Situations happen. You've got to do what you do. And, if they're poisoning the air right now, and I'm surprised I'm still breathing here because of how the body is. But at a certain point, it's not going to work anymore because they're just going to keep it up. So get ready, prepare yourself. This is where those here and others, they have the chance, but most people, they're going to panic, they're going to go unconscious, and when they go to the real side, they're not going to know where they're at because they won't understand what's going on, and they'll want to come back because that's all they know for the most part. I've seen it. And so when you prepare yourself and you get to the other side, well, then you can go on from there and you can continue your adventure, etc. But again, you are always the decider. But these ideas that we've been socially ingrained with, they're really not what they seem, you see? Because there's the real you. It's just an experience we're going through here.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Yep, that makes a lot of sense.